Yeah, hello Bernhard.
Hi, Carsten.
What are we doing in this session?
Yeah, this is sort of a little bit of a housekeeping session, trying to, modifying some things. For example, um, we have only one desktop here published, right? And the name is not very, you don't really know what you're getting if you're connecting to this one. So we might, tweak the name a little bit, maybe also with the workspace name to give it a more, more details on this one. Also, please note here on the right-hand side, this is the small update icon for the remote desktop application. So if you're, and that happens relatively frequently. So there is, or there are updates available from time to time. There are also, I think, registry keys available for controlling the update mechanism for the remote desktop app, right? So, but make sure that that you're staying with the latest and greatest ones in order to have the latest features for this, right? So, did the update there. So let's just connect one more time. And so now next step is let's give this a more relevant name, right? So our desktop was hosted in the application group, or it was at least specified here, right? And I'll dig into this and go for the applications, right? Which is a session desktop, right? There are two ways of application types, right? Right now, we only have a desktop, a full desktop, right? But there is also the possibility to do a remote app, and that's the next thing that we'll do. But first of all, we play a little bit with that desktop setting here. So I'll click on it and change the session desktop to, I think our operating system is a Windows 11
Yes.
multi-session, but that's maybe not so interesting, but an M365 or, well, we can do Office 365 components or whatever.
Desktop.
Yeah, desktop. Or if you have a special graphics card, for example, that you could, that you would be benefiting from, then you could, or if it's a graphics workstation, a sort of desktop that you're publishing, then with a lot of graphics power, then you could, put it in the names there, for example.
Maybe later.
Maybe later in a later video. The good thing about it is, so the desktop client here should have picked it up, or maybe if not automatically, just go here, do a refresh, and that should be relatively fast. So after the changes have been applied, you just need to do a refresh, and then you should see it here, right? So that's one thing. Maybe we talked a little bit about the friendly name for the workspace. So let's maybe go back there one more time and see where you can edit this. So under properties, you should be able to tell it what it is. So let's just replace the one with workspace on HCI, something like that, maybe, right? Same procedure here. Once the workspace is updated, do a refresh on your client, and it should be picking it up after some seconds here, right?
Mhm.
Here it is. Next thing, I would say, let's fill a little bit more information here, or let's presume that we want to have applications to be published directly, right? This is also something that you can do. So I would create another application group, right? So not only a desktop application group, but a remote app application group. So let's do that. Hit the create button, and I'm taking the right subscription and the right resource group. Which one did we take? It was RG AVD something.
West, yes. West Europe.
Yeah. And we can only publish applications that are installed on the session hosts, and the configuration, I mean, for those is a host pool, right? So
Mhm.
we can only use, they always have a relationship to the host pools, and with that to the session host, to the machines that they're running in, right? So we can only have one desktop application group per host pool. That's why this guy here is grayed out, but we can have a um, remote apps thing. So not quite sure how we should name it, but let's do maybe AVD. What did we say?
You want to
Um,
publish Notepad plus plus maybe
yeah,
Word, Excel, PowerPoint.
yeah. Let's maybe do it like this: HCI, because it's based on HCI host pool number one, and then it's remote apps. I'm not very.
Now we are not
Uh,
very good with names, right?
yeah. We had our quarrels regarding naming conventions. Okay, but anyways, let's presume that this is a name we can both live with. Next thing would be to add the applications, right? You can do it now or later. However, just be sure that you have some mechanisms there. So start menu is probably most obvious. So if you install applications on these desktops, if they are up and running, right? Um, the agents that are running in these desktops, they sort of see all the applications that are installed and pre-fill that list for you, right? So you can even see Notepad++, for example, which we did install here, right? For example, so we could choose either this or let's take Excel, for example, right?
No,
Um,
let us take Notepad plus plus,
now
and we
let's
can edit
let's 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 take Excel first, okay? And because we
always
might have
Excel. You're a number guy, right?
nah, not yeah, there were issues with the double plus signs in the past, so
Okay.
maybe I'm not wanting to raise that error here, but there might be something. So let's start first with something else, and then we'll play a little bit more with it. Okay. Um, yeah, that's the first application, right? Yeah, and there's another thing, for example, which is an MSIX package. Um, this is another mechanism of publishing applications to be, running or executed on that session host. However, it's a different process, right? So the application is not installed; it's sort of side-loaded with the user's logon session, like with a little bit comparable to the FS Logix profile shares, where you have a virtual hard disk. However, it's not containing the profile data, it's containing the application, right?
Mhm.
However, you need to build that virtual hard disk and the application and need to install it and register it. So it can be done, but it's a much longer process, and we haven't done it so far, right? But look out in the internet for AVD, MSIX, app attach. There should be some videos about doing so, right? However, the option is there. Okay, yeah, maybe we should be brave. Okay, and do the Notepad++ because you wanted to have it. So let's just take it and see if it works, right?
I have a
And
question you maybe
mhm,
can't answer, but I'm curious.
mhm,
When you use Start menu,
mhm.
obviously it's looking into the Windows 11 multi-session host, what we have installed there,
Mm,
because Notepad++ is there.
mhm.
Is it because it's in these nodes are in the host pool and he's scanning them, or how does it know which applications are installed in our desktops?
Yeah, yeah,
Somehow.
it's scanning them. It's using the agents that you were installing, right? So in a previous
Okay.
video, we installed the agents, and they are looking at what applications are installed. We would not be able to do this step if the application or the session hosts are offline, right? If you
Okay.
would shut them down, I think it would tell you, hey, I can't look into the host pool. I can't get this information. Do it
Another thing
when.
I'm thinking about, we should have the same applications deployed in all our um, images, right?
Mhm.
Um, otherwise we maybe choose an application that's only available in one of the
Oh
desktops, and then
no, you
no,
should. Yes, you are perfectly right. So the thinking is, whatever is in a host pool, right? The
yeah,
machines should be identical,
yeah,
right, or almost identical. I mean, not to the ID, right? Because,
yeah,
but I mean,
but all the
you
applications.
Yes, you need to be consistent. Otherwise, you'll never know what you're getting, right? It would
Okay.
be a lottery or something
Yeah.
like that.
And we did that. We created our golden image with
Mm,
Notepad plus plus and the Office tools,
right.
so they are available in both desktops. Okay.
And also, you're just talking about the inner, the operating system size, but let's also see it from the outer thing, right? The virtual machine setting. Do you think it would be a good idea to have, session hosts, a big one and a small one and a medium one in the same host pool? No,
I have to
because,
think about it.
right? I
No, of
mean,
course not.
well, I mean, your users would get a different performance, right?
Yeah.
Every time they connect to different hosts, right? And that's why we are saying, for example, in Azure, if you are using AVD, select a virtual machine type and don't mix the virtual machine type within a host pool, right?
Okay.
Try to be consistent. I mean, you could maybe from a technical perspective, you could manage to do it, but you shouldn't be doing it. Okay, assignments is the thing. We could do it later, but we can also, add the right users or give the users permissions to this desktop already. Let's do it. And also workspace, right? So we do have a workspace sitting in the same region, which is West Europe. There we have it. It's only one we have, or therefore we are, it is being used. Advanced, no tagging. We are lazy. I'm lazy, sort of. And I create that thing. So, and if everything worked, let's keep fingers crossed, right? Even with the Notepad++ thing, it should be working relatively fast, right? Um, yeah, there are a lot of linked templates now. Okay, interesting. And after this is done, yeah,
Does it magic, but it has a conflict somehow in the
let's see.
application template. Mhm.
Okay,
Interesting.
yeah, same arrow.
Remote app.
So what's the
It's
template look?
Notepad. It's Notepad plus plus, I guess.
Yeah, it is.
So the plus plus is still a problem here.
Yeah, yeah,
so, so not the
yeah.
best choice to choose this
No,
application
it's
for no
yeah,
example.
that's that's
And
the
maybe add
worst.
Word or so. Add Word to it.
That's the worst choice that you could do. But some of the stuff worked, right? We may need to, let's see and clean up the setting. Uh, yeah, maybe some learning effect as well. So let's see if something has changed or if something has worked. Okay, let's go back and do a refresh here. See if we at least have Axel, sort
I
of.
don't think so.
Axel is there,
Yes, you have.
right? But the Notepad++ stuff didn't work. So let's clean it up and maybe try, try Excel. Excel we have, but let's try something else. So let's go under. Oh yeah. So we don't even need to clean it up. Just didn't work. So let's take. What do you want? Word.
I'm a PowerPoint guy, right? So add PowerPoint.
PowerPoint. Right.
Yes.
Okay.
And you can add the notepad without the plus plus.
Yes.
The simple one.
Yeah, and there might be some other things, right? So now start menu, we might, it is or it should be possible, but anyways, I think, the difficulty is it might, let's
No, I meant
override.
there is another notepad, right?
Okay.
The
No,
Microsoft one.
yeah, I think it was somewhere in here, right? So maybe the display name was the conflicting piece, but it was possible to do it somehow. Yeah, but there's one other thing I want to show you, right? So, I mean, I can try to do a double click here and do the same thing, right? And start Excel. It would look like, if it's being run locally. So let's see if I recall the name, right?
The password.
The password, yes. And if everything works, it should be starting up Excel. It will be still, in a remote session, and you could see it here, right? So it's still it's still starting it, and as you could see, I mean, it's not activated yet. So I only have the trial phase for it. But anyways, I mean, it looks like it is being run locally.
But if
Right?
you start another application, it will share the same session, I guess.
Yeah.
So it should be faster, right? Not loading the profile again.
Yeah. So let's just quit that. And the other thing is a little bit where you need to pay attention is because I just hit the X symbol, which is now in a disconnect state, right? So if I would go to that desktop, I would still see that there's a user connected to it. Sometimes that's desired because next time you go back and do the double click again for that application, it will start up faster, right? But sometimes it might be you want to get access to your profile share on a different desktop, and maybe it's blocked by Excel, by the Excel session. So
Yeah.
you may want to sort of um, control the log on or log off or disconnect behavior, right? One other thing I wanted to show you, because these applications here will show up under the search window, right? So if you look for Excel, for example, it should bring up, or it should at least find maybe where it is, maybe under apps. Okay, and then let's go back. Um, and that may take some time, right? Here it is. So until search picked it up. So it will be also showing, although it's not executed locally, it's part of the remote desktop connection. But it's you'll have something in your search window to make it a little bit easier for the people to really find it and get it, right? Which I think is a good thing. So now coming back to what I was saying previously or earlier, which is controlling a little bit the behavior of the host pools, the disconnect state. This is also something that you could do on the host pool itself, right? So if you are a terminal server guy, you know that there are some specific registry settings that you could choose for controlling a little bit the behavior of the RDP session. Some of them have been ported into the AVD control plane, which means for the desktops or for the session hosts, you can modify a little bit, the session behavior, right? If a client, for example, tries to reconnect in terms if anything goes wrong, for example, right? If he's using compression for the traffic, or are you looking more into multimedia stuff, or being traffic efficient, right? Also, from a security perspective, sometimes you want to do microphone and video redirection into the session in order to be able to do terminal server session, not terminal server, team sessions with audio and video, right, within your desktop.
Would be nice, right?
Yeah, so that's stuff that can be done and can be configured. I think it's not 100% complete list. There's still also, I think, the possibility to do some advanced settings here, right? So we can do the RDP properties, which you're familiar with. Some of them also work for these for AVD desktops, but there is a little bit more to it, right? And I think, do you have anything else you want to discuss in this one, or?
No, I think it's a basic overview over a lot of things, and to get a good AVD installation, you have to learn much more, and then we can cover in this video. And to be honest, I'm not an AVD expert. I was a MetaFrame terminal server expert years ago,
Mm,
more than 15 years ago, but a lot of it is still familiar to me.
mm,
So it's coming back. So it's a lot. There is more to do. We have some easy applications here like Word,
mm,
Excel, and so on. They are perfect for these environments, but there are other applications that's maybe are not so easy to install. Maybe 3D applications or so. Yeah,
mm.
we know. Maybe let's look at those stuff in another session. So we will do another video, and it will be about FS Logic.
Yeah, we will have an administrator look at FS Logics. Okay, see you there.